Hey, I'm happy and excited to be here. I'm also nervous. It's the first time I ever do this. But that's the world. The world has changed, as some of you haven't figured that out in the last 2 weeks. So this is the new way to go. This is technology. A little bit about myself. I have a consulting firm called the Midessa Group. Hey, I see Jesus on there. It's not Midessa Real Estate, but those guys are cool too. The Midessa Group, we specialize in 3 areas. We specialize in mergers and acquisitions, buy-side and sell-side engagements. Second thing we do is we do consulting work, mainly in the area of fractional CFO work. And then the third thing we do, which is keeping me extremely busy right now, and it's all my attention. I won't say all because my CFO clients might get upset about that, but we focus on capital advising in debt and equity financing. Just to let you know, I've been doing this consulting with business owners for over 15 years. I've been doing lending as well. I started running the numbers of how much I've done in lending. Also with my former team at the SBDC, everything combined, I've done a little bit over 100 million in loans. That includes SBA loans, 7A Express, and 504 loans. I didn't know that until I started adding the numbers. So I think that's, I guess we can say that's a good amount of experience there. So a little bit about my background. The Midessa Group, we've been around for a couple of years. Prior to that, I was the regional director for the Small Business Development Center. Had a lot of success there. One of my former teammates is there, Emily Weinberg. So thanks for being on board. And then prior to that, I worked in commercial lending and on the consumer side of banking as well. So lending, loans, SBA loans, all that is something I eat, breathe, and walk over the last 15 years. So this is a product I know really well. So I'm excited. Just to let y'all know, I was excited, nervous. I couldn't sleep thinking about what I'm going to talk about. But let me let y'all know what we're going to talk about today. So a little disclosure. I'm not going to be liable for any of the information going out today. I have to state that because the information is changing. Actually, it's changing. I was going to say as of yesterday, I was going to say it's changing by the day, but it's not. It's actually changing by the hour because I got some exciting news this morning. So everybody that's on here, kudos for you guys. I'm excited. There's some information that I'm going to announce this morning, and you are going to be really excited about this. Why? Because at the Midessa Group, we get information firsthand. What separates us from even the local lenders is we're getting information directly from SBA. I'm connected directly with SBA. We have their cell phone numbers. We're connected with SBA preferred lenders. That means those are the first individuals, banks that are going to disseminate this information that I'm going to talk about. So anyways, they're making information available to me. I have their cell phone numbers. So we're in touch every day. So sadly to say, we know the information firsthand before you even see it on the website. We're going to talk about some information coming to the website. First of all, I want to say thank you to Heather Massey for putting this together in the Better Business Bureau. I am very happy to serve on that board. I'm excited what they do for business owners. I think more than ever, we appreciate those organizations like the Better Business Bureau and some of our community organizations like the Chambers of Commerce. But, the Better Business Bureau is really, trying to be ahead of the game and get information to all businesses because more than ever right now, it's critical. I'm a business owner myself. So I went from getting 1 or 2 calls a week on loans to getting 20 calls a day. So that's how my life has changed. Sadly to say, my business is doing good. Others are not, and that's what we're here for. So let me start off. I am going to try to stay on track with the agenda that we set that's on the Facebook. If you didn't register, that's fine right now, last minute, but kind of send a shout out there to the Better Business Bureau so they can see that you're on here. So I'm going to try to stay with the agenda. The things that we're going to cover are the 2 SBA loans that were approved through the CARES Act. We're going to talk about the Paycheck Protection Program and so the 2 programs, which is called the Payroll Protection Program and the SBA Emergency Disaster Loan. We're going to talk about what the local banks are doing. We're going to talk about the activity in the SBA right now. We're going to talk about online loans to watch out for. We're going to talk about merchant lending. We're going to talk about private lenders. We're going to talk about, some things that you can do in your business. Other things is how you can get creative, and then taking your business online like we've done here. And I'm sorry I keep looking to this direction. I'm used to having a camera here, not in front of me. So my apologies. So the exciting news that we have today, and it's actually changed my whole presentation this morning, is that everything has gone online. So a lot of my clients are going to hate me now as of 30 minutes this morning, because all the information that they filled out in the last couple of days just went online. And actually, I did the application right before getting on this webinar, and it took me 2 minutes to do the application. And that's it. Isn't that amazing? I think that deserves a round of applause there, right? So now, just to let you know, I'm sorry, I can't hear everybody. They're on mute. That's a good thing. The reason I was able to do it in 2 minutes, I know all my information. I keep it handy. I don't expect everybody to be able to do that. Okay. So let me do this. So my presentation has actually changed, that I put together in the last couple of days. Has actually changed 30 minutes ago. So I'm going to try to keep up. So let me talk a little bit about the two separate loans. There's actually 3 of them, but 2 separate loans that got approved. So for everybody's understanding, there's a lot of confusion out there. So I'm going to try to narrow that confusion down, mitigate that confusion, and that's my job here. Once again, I'm just going to provide general information. We can really get into the weeds. That's not something that I want to do. My example of getting into the weeds is like somebody going to Walmart or Sam's right now, and going to Sam's and showing your membership card at the door and saying, hey, do you happen to know if they have the Ultra Charmin that's really soft, the 24-pack? They're probably going to roll their eyes. There's toilet paper available. Just go get it. But if you're asking for that kind of detailed information, that's getting into the weeds. We're going to allow some Q&A, but we don't want to get into the weeds today. I did provide my contact, my office number. I did provide my website where you can go in there, log in, and email me some information, okay? So if you have questions, you can send that to me. But the goal is just to provide general information. So let me talk about, let me streamline this. So we have the CARES Act that was approved. That was the bill that was passed. So from the CARES Act, 2 things evolved from that, is funds for businesses and funds for the healthcare industry, okay? I don't know why individuals are confusing those 2. They're saying, hey, business loan and tell me about the CARES Act. Well, it's the same thing, okay? The CARES Act developed 2 things. It's loans for businesses and loans for the healthcare industry. Let's just get that straight. There's a lot of confusion around there on that. I don't know why. Well, I do know why. It's just there's a lot of misinformation out there. There's just so much. So we're going to focus on the business loans. That's what I do, okay? So on the business side, there's actually 2 loans that there's actually 3, but I'm going to consolidate them into 2. And the reason I'm going to do that is because on the economic disaster loan, which we're going to talk about, they call it the EIDL loan. From there's actually the regular loan and a small little grant, okay? So, and then there's the Paycheck Protection program that we're going to talk about, okay? So you can actually almost say there's 3, but we're going to say there's 2, because we're going to focus on these 2 for now. My job at the Midessa Group is to streamline everything for you, okay? And people that reach out to us and that come on as clients is because we streamline the information, okay? So that's what we're trying to do in this seminar. So let's talk about this loan. We're going to focus right now on the SBA Economic Injury Disaster Loan, as we're going to call the EIDL loan. That's the loan where we have the online application right now, okay? So let me talk about, excuse me, a couple of characteristics on that. It's a loan that people can qualify up to $2 million. All businesses, by the way, will qualify. I had some hotel owners call me. Believe it or not, even landlords will qualify. That's the one where nonprofits qualify as well. Okay. So, Heather, I'm going to talk to you later, see if we can do a webinar maybe tomorrow or the day after where we can actually get online and walk people through that application just to see. I'm going to do a dummy copy just so people can see how simple this is. Maybe, but we'll talk about that. So just let you know, hey, Heather, do me a favor? Where can they connect with you guys on Facebook? Is that correct?
Yes, they can come online to our Permian Basin Facebook page or always at bbb.org. We have all of our contact information on there as well. And once we set up a new or an extended seminar, then we'll go ahead and send an email like we did for this one. They're able to register, and we'll definitely give them, a little bit of notice on that one as well.
I'm not trying to do marketing here, guys, but that's where we're going to have the information. So please, we might have a seminar here actually this week or early next week. So please go to their Facebook page, log in and keep up on that. We might do what we call a dummy run through. That means we'll set up an online and we'll run through the online application. So, okay, let's get back to economic injury disaster loan, $2 million. Now, what can you use those funds for? You can use those funds for payroll, for rent, utilities, interest on debt incurred, okay, for the interest portion, not the principal. For accounts payable, and keep that in mind, accounts payable, because when we talk about the other loan, it's not going to include the accounts payable. Just to let you know that. And then some bills that could have been paid had this disaster not occurred. Now, information that we have, and once again, I'm not liable for this. I disclosed that at the beginning because information's changing. And it's changing, the documentation, everything's changing. I have 15 years experience in this, and it's hard for even me to keep up, okay? But one of the things that I talked to, this came from SBA directly, and it's one of the questions that I get asked a lot. What about my credit? Credit's not gonna be an issue right now. Awesome, okay? Affiliation, what does affiliation mean? Hey, are they gonna look at other businesses that you're involved in? Yes. So this is gonna be specific. That's the question I get from a lot of hotel owners. How about me? You qualify, and franchises that have several locations. So if you have a business structure and several entities, we're going to have to sit down and do a consulting service with you. That gets very detailed there. But so they are going to look at when you do the application, that's where it gets a little confusing as to which entity you're going to apply for, because in the application process, it's asking you for your EIN. So if you have multiple entities, which one do you put? Okay? And I imagine that all entities are not doing well at this time, unless you're in the toilet paper industry. Other than that, you're not doing well. Gee, why didn't I think of that one a while back? Credit elsewhere. I've been doing SBA loans. The reason so out of the 40, when I say, we have about 100, between 50 and 100 banks here in the Midland, Odessa area. When I say 50 to 100, that's brick and mortar. That's not how many different brands of banks, but brick and mortar locations. Out of all those, we'll talk about that here in a little bit. Only a few of them know how to do SBA loans. Why? They're confusing, they're constantly changing, so they're difficult to do. So one part of what's happening right now, this is disaster relief because of the situation we're in. The government is trying to streamline this right now, and the SBA. So, anyways, the credit elsewhere, where the credit elsewhere means that when a bank looks at an SBA loan, they want to make sure that you can get approved for a loan somewhere else, a regular loan. So that is being waived as well. The interest rate on this is going to be 3.75, and it's going to be up to 30 years. Isn't that awesome? So anyways, now part of this, when you do this application, you're also going to be able to apply. You're applying for the EIDL emergency grant, okay? Some of you can call that another loan, but it's really a grant. It's not automatic, okay? Just because you input the application, you send it in, that doesn't mean you're going to get approved for $10,000, okay? It's based on employee count. How they're determining that as in their analysis, I don't know yet. We don't know, but they're doing that. So when you apply, they're actually going to give you a phone call and they're going to go over this information. Now, who's going to be contacting you? This is the SBA. Okay. I've had some clients call me and say, Enrique, I don't need your help. I'm going to go to the bank. Ha ha ha. The bank doesn't know about this because this is not through the bank. This is through the SBA. That's the difference. Okay. So you can't go to your banker about this. I promise you, they're scratching their head unless they're a preferred lender and have experience doing SBA loans. We have about 4 preferred lenders here in Midland, Odessa. Actually 5, but I don't know if the other one still has their preferred lender status. That means those are banks that are able to do SBA loans, so they've done in the past. There's actually only one bank in Midland, Odessa that actually, when you go there, I'm not going to mention their names, is they actually know how to do the person you're sitting in front of actually knows how to do an SBA loan. Other than that, the other ones that say they know how to do it, they actually don't. It's somebody in their corporate office in San Antonio, Dallas, or somewhere that's actually doing those loans. But they're the ones that are, and we'll get to that in a minute. That's on the Paycheck Protection Program. Those are the guys that are going to be able to do that. Okay, so let me talk about a couple of things on the grant. That is a forgivable loan, okay? So don't get confused. So on the economic injury disaster loan, $2 million, that one is not not forgivable. This grant will be for the amount that you qualify for. That's for, now these loans, I can almost say 2, but it's the same application. It's for any business that have 500 employees or less. Sole proprietorships do qualify. I'm getting a lot of those questions. If you're, even if you don't have any employees or contractors, cooperatives of 500 employees or more, ESOPs, what can these funds be used for? This is the emergency grant that's forgivable. It can be used to provide sick leave to employees unable to work due to the direct effect of the coronavirus. And there's a lot of detail under that information that impacts businesses in terms of was somebody directly impacted, funds for you as a business owner, for the employee that's left, for the employee themselves. There's just a lot of good information. I don't have the detail. I actually do, but I don't have enough time to discuss that on this webinar. Okay. To maintain payroll, to retain employees during the business disruptions or substantial slowdowns, and to meet the increased costs to obtain materials unavailable from applicant's original source due to interrupted supply, that's from your vendors, to make rent or mortgage payments and repay obligations that cannot be met due to this issue that's going on right now. So that emergency grant up to $10,000, I know of a lot of small business owners that will be able to benefit that. Now I have more what we call middle market clients that, I mean, that's not even gonna put a dent in their business, but once again, that information is there. So we talked about the SBA Economic Injury Disaster Loan, up to $2 million for payroll, rent, utilities, interest on existing debt, accounts payable. Really just think of it as operating expenses. Now that loan, one thing I have to say, the information that's out there right now, that a personal, if you qualify for funds of 200,000 or less, you won't have to do a personal guarantee, okay, or collateral. But if it's over 200,000, you will personally guarantee this, and they will be looking at putting a lien on your assets. Keep that in mind. What I see happening now when people look at these loans, and we'll talk about that here in a moment, you can actually apply for both loans. But if you get approved for both, you cannot take both. You can only take one. Okay, so I see people with their head, when they sit in front of me, a light bulb goes off and saying, oh, well, which one is better? We will determine that. If you become a client of ours, we actually put a strategy in place for that. But so, okay, so now I'm going to move on to the Paycheck Protection Program. My apologies if I called it the Payroll Protection Plan, because that's what it was called in the bill, and it seems like that changed. So if you hear me say Payroll Protection Program, it's because this monster is a moving target, so names are changing. The one we talked about previously, the economic disaster loan, that was called the COVID-19, and they took the COVID-19 part out already. So bear with me because the names are changing as well. So now we're talking about this second loan. And the reason I'm saying it's a second loan, because this one's a little different. This one is, this will be up to maximum of $10 million per borrower. And I can't even speak this morning. And so that's going to be, that's for anybody who has 500 or less employees. Once again, this one's going to be for payroll, and there's a lot of detail behind that payroll part. Okay, I'm not going to get into the weeds. We talked about earlier on what getting into the weeds are. We're not going to get into the weeds today. Okay, that's going to be used for payroll, interest on mortgage payments, just like the other one, rent, just like the other one, utilities, just like the other one, and interest on any debt incurred prior to February 15th. Okay, that one, no collateral is going to be required. Affiliation, if you have several entities, they are going to look at that. And then this one will have, what separates this one, keep in mind what separates the Paycheck Protection or the Payroll Protection Program, what makes it different than the other one is two major things. Okay, one, it's that it's through the banks. This one will be through the banks. Okay. Second thing is that this has actually a forgivable portion in there. Okay, and that portion is complicated to explain, but it's there. Okay. And then this one for the so there's a forgivable portion on this and a non-forgivable portion. For the non-forgivable portion of that Paycheck Protection Program, if you end up with that portion will be termed out as a loan over 10 years at 4%. Okay. I'm glad we're not going to have a Q&A on that. Wow. I have clients sit with me, and I always think I'm going to spend 10 to 20 minutes with every client. I've never had less than an hour and a half session just focused on that part. Okay. There's a lot of detailed information. So let me try to explain this. On the payroll protection one, if you need funds, and there's going to be, the bankers are going to be able to do an analysis for that. Depending on how you use the funds, either for payroll, and you can use the funds, let's say you laid off some employees and you want to bring those on board, there's actually funds for that. If you have some employees on leave, there's funds for that. The calculation that's going to be used for that is looking at your payroll for the last 12 months or last 12 months, and they're going to do an average of that times 2.5. I don't know where people are getting 2 from, but it's 2.5. Okay. Now, the calculation, if you use the funds for rent utilities, that's going to be another calculation. Don't ask about that. Don't get into the weeds, okay? Now, on this loan, I work with over 20 preferred lenders. They're already getting the applications ready, and we're going to get that information soon. We're actually going to get it sooner than a lot of other individuals, but that's another subject right now. So we talked about 2 programs that we're looking at. You can almost say it's 3, but 2. It's the Economic Injury Disaster Loan, up to $2 million for operating expenses. Under $200,000, probably not. They're not going to require personal guarantee. Over $200,000, they are. You're going to look at some collateral. No credit at this time, and that answer came straight from SBA, by the way. That's not in the bill, but it's from SBA. We talked about the little emergency grants. By the way, they're going to be able to provide those funds up to $10,000 within 3 days. Isn't that cool? So they're going to be able to provide that immediately. And then the second loan, so the application that we will look at right now that anybody can apply for is that economic injury disaster loan, the EIDL emergency grant. Those two groups, it's the same application. So that, and then here in a week or two, we're now going to start receiving the application and information for the Paycheck Protection Plan. Is that clear? Because everybody asking me for information. We don't have that yet. Okay. So that's going to happen here in the near future, and that's going to be through banks. So the first one, the economic injury disaster loan, that's through the SBA, the emergency grant through the SBA. The Paycheck program is going to be through the SBA. They're the ones in charge of executing on it, but it's going to be through the banks. The first banks that I have knowledge that will have information, and the first applications on that is actually banks that are SBA preferred lenders. Now, just to let y'all know, every bank's going to be able to do this. That's FDIC, even credit unions, okay? Now, do me a favor, there's some credit unions that do SBA loans here in the area. There's actually only one. This is, they didn't pay me for marketing. I'm not going to say who they are. Anyways, just kidding there. But don't go to your local credit union and start asking them for this. They're not aware of this information, okay? So please don't do that. Don't go over there and say, hey, Enrique said that you guys are going to be doing this. Most of them are, don't have all the information. So those are the loans that we talked about. Let me talk a little bit about the application. I'm excited this morning. This application's easy. If you previously filled out the disaster business loan application, which is Form 5, you take that information. That's the information you'll need for the for doing the online application. If you submitted the online application, you're going to have to redo this again because that does not qualify you for the grant. So if you did the paper one, you sent it in, I'm sorry, now you're going to have to go online. But you already have the information. So if you did the application, this should take you no more than 5 minutes. Okay? Now, the people that are going to take longer is people that say, hey, I don't know the following information. So the information it's going to ask you is, you know, if you're a sole proprietorship, what's your social security number? If you're operating as a DBA. If you're a company, what's your EIN number? What organizational type are you? Is the applicant a nonprofit organization? Is the applicant a franchise? What were your gross revenues for 12 months prior to the date of the disaster, January 31st of this year? What are your costs of goods? So one thing we're noticing here, if you never, this is where your bookkeepers, accountants, and CPAs are really important. Please don't get rid of those people. Those are the people you do not want to get rid of. Because if you don't have your financials in order, that's a group you don't want to let go. Those people are required right now. They're the ones that if you don't have your books organized, you're going to need that information, okay? Nobody's paying me to say that, okay? But please don't let go of those people. Rental properties. So if you're a landlord, you can qualify for this. Rental properties, lost rents due to the disaster. Okay, so if you have rental properties as well, that gets a little fickly as well with the information on that. But we'll have more details on that. Combined annual operating expenses for 12 months prior to the date of the disaster for all secular social services provided by faith-based entities. I'm not saying churches qualify, but if they're a 501c3, there's an opportunity for them to qualify. But nonprofits do qualify. Emily, you're out there, your organization. All right, Dress for Success. Don't forget them. What's your primary address? Date the business was established. Current ownership since what date? What business activity do you do? And it actually has a drop-down menu. I promise you they made this so easy. I believe a sixth grader could fill this out. And then it talks about business owner. So if you click 20% owner, it's not going to let you continue on because it's now they're going to want additional information on the other owners, okay? Information they want is, of course, your name, your phone number, your email, ownership percentage, social security number, birthday, place of birth, U.S. citizen, and then your address. And then it's going to ask the regular information. People need to understand that this is an SBA loan, so this is a government loan, so they're going to ask any information. have you been convicted in the last 12 months? You have, you know, information like that. That's important. And then it's going to ask you, you know, did anybody provide assistance? So all those people that become clients that have paid for our services, that's where you'll put the information there on the Midessa Group. And just to let you know, so now I'm going to get in. So now we finished the application part that's online. Okay. I'm going to put the link up here for that. So let me put the link up here for that application. Voila, there. That's the application. There's where you can go directly to the application. That's where you being on this seminar, this webinar this morning, thank you, Better Business Bureau, is going to make the difference. While everybody's running around everywhere trying to look for information and filling out paperwork, voila, there you go. You have the link straight to the application, okay? So the information that we just talked about, we covered right there. Okay, let me get back on track on the agenda. So what I'm seeing a lot of from my clients right now, well, let me get to that in a moment. Okay, so we talked about the two main SBA loans. Right now, you just need to focus on this SBA disaster injury loan. That's the application for that right now, and the small little grant. That's where your focus needs to be right now. Nothing else. Are we clear? Because everybody's just running all over the place. Another thing you want to be preparing is your payroll information. If your books are not in order, your payroll wasn't in order, you need to get that in order for the Payroll Protection program. All right, have all that information in order because you're going to need that. Once you do all these loans, by the way, they're going to stay on top of this information. The banks will and the government will. So you got to keep all this stuff in order. So I'm going to put that, I need to put that out there. Now, clients are coming to me, just to let you know, if you're looking, I saw a webinar one day where they say, hey, if you're needing assistance, just go to your bank and ask for a line of credit. Banks are not doing lines of credits right now, people. They're not lending, okay? I know, because everybody's coming to me. I didn't go from 1 to 2 calls a week to 20 a day for no reason. It's people are, they're nervous. They don't know what to do. If you're trying to renew your line of credit, it's probably going to be a little difficult. So know that if you're trying to start a business right now, it's not that easy. I'm going to talk about that here in a moment. Yes, you can still do that, but you can't use these funds for that. If you want to do an acquisition, you can't use these funds for that, okay? Regular SBA lending is slowed down a lot. Know that a lot of banks have gone home as well. They're not working in their offices. All the loans, I have right now $35 million of loans that I'm working on. I can tell you 90% of them came to a halt or have slowed down. Why? I mean, everybody's working from home. You know, people are calling me saying, hey, where does my loan stand? I'm talking about regular loans now. Okay, just bear with banks right now. Let me just tell you, it's important that you get your information in as soon as possible because in the next 2 to 3 weeks, banks are going to get hammered, okay, with this payroll, this Paycheck Protection Program. Okay, mostly the ones that are the ones that are going to be that are preferred lenders, and then when it disseminates to everybody else. Watch out for these loans right now. These merchant loan banks are now hounding up on a lot of small business owners because they know that they're in need of funds. That's what people need right now. So beware of that. We have a lot of companies, organizations, firms like mine that are not banks. Some of them that don't have experience in SBA lending, and they're reaching out to people and saying, hey, I'm going to charge you this fee and I'm going to get you approved for this. Well, they can't get you approved because they're not the ones that dictate how much you're going to get approved from. So if you get somebody snipping around saying, hey, I'm going to take care of all this for you and I'm going to charge you, make sure that they have experience doing SBA loans, that they've done 7A loans. If you need me to vet them, I can do that in 30 seconds. I can vet those individuals. There's just 3 key questions that I ask, and I can find out if they've ever done an SBA loan before. So make sure that there's firms that can charge to package these or to get you the information, but make sure that they've done this before, okay? So watch out for that. Watch out for any merchant loans. Watch out for people calling you that that they can approve you. They can't approve you. Okay. There's nobody that can approve you. There's clients that pay me for my services, and there's some, I don't mind saying this is funny, that say, hey, Enrique, I know you have those contacts. How much more would it cost to move me up the queue? I can't do that. I have direct contact with the SBA. I can't do that. There's no, not even, I love the chai tea latte hot with coconut milk at Starbucks. That won't even work. Okay. What cuts can your business do right now? One of the conflicts I'm seeing right now, not a week ago, is that, you know, I'm asking people to go to, so you have an existing SBA loan, go to your bank or the provider of the SBA loan, the individual that packets that, see if they can provide deferment on that. Deferment means can they provide 2 or 3 months with no payment or interest-only payments, okay? They've been able to do that for my clients, even on regular convention loans. Okay, so make sure, somebody just got off mute. So anyways, so make sure to go do that. Go ask your landlord to see if they can help you out, defer or put you, defer or do a forbearance. Deferment on your rent. Now, what I'm seeing on the landlords right now is they know these packages are coming out, and they're like, no, go get that money. And no, you should be able to do that. I've always had this saying, if you never ask, it'll be a no. So please go, go ask. Go ask your landlords. Go ask your lenders. Now, I don't want you to walk into a lender and say, hey, Enrique Romero, you know the guy? Because I've worked with all lenders. He said that you can defer this or provide interest. Don't do that, okay? I don't carry that kind of clout. So get creative on your business. I've seen a lot of businesses get creative. They go online. Some of the restaurants that didn't have a drive-through, they're getting creative with Uber Eats and delivery. I know one of my business clients, they actually transformed their whole business as a retail business. Now they're selling necessity needs products. So it's about getting creative right now. It's painting outside the line. It's about surviving. I think these loans, I believe these loans are going to be to help people, but there's things that you can do right now in the meantime. So getting creative. And then the last thing is really taking your business online. That's really important, is doing that. This is the first time I am ever involved in a live webinar, something that I never planned to do to maybe 3 years from now, or 2 years from now, but that's changed for me. Okay, so from now on, I'm going to have webinars probably once a week, updating people on the changes that are coming our way. What else am I going to say? So I think, Heather, I covered everything in the agenda that we have. Let me answer some questions that I've seen. I think I've answered everything that's come my way.
Enrique, we have a couple of questions.
All right, go ahead.
Really quickly that I noticed. Let me go back to the first one. Okay, so Hubert asked, how do they handle the subcontractors? All of the labor I use are subcontractors.
The funds could be used for that. I can't tell you how they're going to handle that, but the funds can be utilized for that. Now, the calculation for that, we still don't have information on that. We don't have guidance. So let me tell you what's happening right now. So right now, if you try to reach out to the SBA offices and stuff, they're just not answering, even through email. The reason why is right now we're in the period. So usually when a bill passes, the SBA has 30 days to execute on that bill. Well, now the government said you have 15 days. You don't have 30 days. We're in a dilemma right now. So between the 27th when this bill was signed and 15 days, that's why SBA is extremely busy right now, putting information together and getting advice from the government saying, okay, you have these funds, we want advice from you. Here's how we're going to work and distribute the funds, and here's how we're going to work. Remember the disaster loan and the Paycheck Protection Program. Is this how you want us to disseminate and execute on this? That's what's happening right now, okay? So so in the middle, closer to the second week of April, let me look at my calendar. This is a moving target. So yes, the second week in April, we should have now more information on details for subcontract.
Okay, Enrique, another question that we had here, and this will just be a brief summary, and I have a few more. Can you explain again about the either or for the EIDL loan versus the grant?
Yes. Thank you. That's a great question. So when you apply for both, when you apply for the disaster loan, that's up to $2 million, the Paycheck Protection Program, you can apply for both. So remember, right now we're only doing the disaster loan. That's right now because you're on this webinar, you know that. Everybody's hounding on the paycheck. The information's not out there. The application's not out there. So you can apply for this one, which I encourage everyone to do. When the application, which we will have soon, by the way, some banks are letting me know that I should probably have it by Friday, if not next week, that information, you can apply for that. When you get approved for both, you will have to make a decision on one or the other. You cannot get both.
Okay. Enrique, John submitted this question, and you might not know the timeline, obviously, but I submitted the disaster loan app yesterday. What kind of response time could be expected?
It goes back to what I'm saying. So you should begin a call. Here, it's probably going to be, once again, this is a moving target. Well, we were told it's probably going to be 2 weeks from now on this SBA disaster loan. It could possibly go to 3. It shouldn't. It should be within 2 weeks. I'm sorry, and I keep missing the targets because last week we were saying 2 to 3 weeks. It's moving a lot faster than we thought. So you should begin. You should be in contact from that. It shouldn't be this Friday, by the way. I'm not. If you do, let me know. I'd be surprised, but I will have more information by Friday on that. I'm sorry. We're Wednesday. I've even lost. I haven't slept by then the last 3 days.
Tuesday.
So we should have information here by the end of the week of a better understanding how long it's taking, but I can tell you around 2 weeks, 2 weeks or just a little less.
Okay. Let me go back here. We had
that's feedback on your application, probably. That's not the money.
Okay. It's on the application. Okay. Kim had asked, where can I get this type of information about the healthcare industry loan?
I don't know. I'm sorry. I would love to learn about that. And I want to get in that. But I have too much to handle right now. I would love to learn about that. I'm sorry. I have no direction. I'm really focused. I'm a business consultant and I eat, breathe, walk, and sleep business. So my apologies. Not to say healthcare is probably the important most, besides business, they're on the front lines. And by the way, kudos to what they're doing for us. I know they need all the help they need, but I don't have information on that.
Okay, thank you. This came from Mindy. If you get the $10,000 grant first, really want the Paycheck Protection Program, how do we handle that?
So we're getting more guidance on that. I should have information on that. You have to understand, you're not going to get approved. So when you get a call, by the way, you can place the hold on that. Yes. So that check, when you get approved, so somebody will contact you if they need more information or something wasn't filled out correctly. And then you have a period, if you get approved, you can hold that for 30 days, by the way. So good question. So that means you can start the Payroll Protection program and apply for that. And you should have, once again, this is a moving target, where now you should have a time frame there because you have 30 days there as well between the time where you get approved and you say, you know what, yes, I'm going to take that. So you'll have some leeway time to make a decision to say, and by then we should know if you can, on the grant, if you can. So by the way, if you're declined on the regular EIDL loan because you're asking for over 200,000, you can still get to 10,000. By the way, if you're declined for anything. What I mean, you're declined. Let me get to that. I'm sorry, not to ignore her question, but if you're behind on 941 taxes, if you haven't done your 2018 tax returns, if you go on back taxes, there's a probability that you can get declined. but you can probably still get this 10,000 grant. So, so we should have information. Go ahead and apply. It's not like you're going to get your check in the next week. By then, we should have applications on the payroll, and we should have more guidance from the banks on that.
Okay. We have a few more questions. We'll try to get through as many as we can in the next few minutes. This should be a really quick one. Angela asked, if you said this, you missed it. Can we apply for a 7A and 7B?
I've never heard of 7B loan.
Okay.
On a 7A, so to let you know, that's a good question. So this SBA economic disaster loan is actually, it's the pillar, the infrastructure of a 7A loan. That's what it is. So by the way, there's a lot of mismarketing out there. There's companies, and I know because they're approaching all my clients. Some weird reason they don't approach me, but they approach my clients and say, "Hey, I have this 7A loan where I can get you $10 million." Guys, that's a disaster relief loan. Don't be sold on that. Don't be sold on that. That's a 7A loan. The foundation for this disaster relief loan was built on that. Okay, that is the 7A loan. Okay, and it's just now moved and called this disaster relief loan. So yes, you're qualifying for the 7A loan, but just don't call it the 7A loan. Call it the disaster relief loan. I don't know what the 7B is. I don't know what they're talking about there. I know there's a 504 loan. A lot of people are asking about that, but I'll talk about that here in a minute.
Okay. Naomi wanted to know, and this is a really, really good question. How would the SBA make sure you're using the funds correctly? Is it going to be based off your taxes?
Oh yeah, they're going to be all over that, like white on rice. Yes. So one of the questions that they put out there, let me use the phrase that they're going to be using. Yes, you better. So I'm trying to answer your question. I'm trying to look for the phrase that they're using. Yes, they will. SBA will monitor this. Remember, this is a government loan, and now that the banks are going to get involved in the Paycheck Protection. I'm sorry, I keep saying payroll. Yes, they're going to monitor this very heavily. That you use for the funds for what they are intended to be used. And if you don't, this can come back and bite you.
Okay, well, just this, let's see here. This is Jeff. He just wanted to make sure to confirm what he heard. So your 2019 tax returns do need to be filed.
No, 2018. I'm sorry about this. 2018, 2019, no. You do not have to have your 2019 tax. Great question. 2019 tax returns do not need to be filed.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you. Angela asked, the $10,000 is supposed to be released within 3 days from the date of receipt of application according to the bill.
No.
If possible, can you speak on that?
No, from the date of the approval, not from the bill. The bill has passed. We're just submitting the application. No, it's from the date of approval. That means, hey, we looked at your information, we did our analysis, and this is what you qualified for, and you should receive the check within 3 days.
Okay, perfect.
Heather, I'm sorry, let me say something else. 2018 tax returns need to be done, not 2019, but you do need to have your financial statements, your P&L up to date, because they want information on your revenues. They want that information and your cost of goods. So, I mean, you want to have that information. Mostly for the payroll, for the Paycheck Protection Program, they're going to want more information on that. So they're going to want 2019 information. On that note, just to let you know, as of 5 days ago, they no longer need the personal financial statement. But if I were you guys, I would have that ready. Okay? Not required, but I would have it ready.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, Enrique, I'm just going to let you finish up. If there's anything else you want to touch base on, if I've missed any questions in here, I'll go ahead and make sure that I send those over to Enrique, and hopefully he can get back with you if he has time. I will also email the recording to everyone that's registered for this webinar as well. So I'm going to turn it over to Enrique for his closing remarks. So
I have I'm putting my contact information on there. The the Midessa Group. There's my website. Go to that. I think you can, hopefully it's working. If it's not, my apologies. You know what? Let me put my email out there. I don't know if that's a good thing, but I will put it out there. My email address for any questions that y'all might have. Did it come out there? Yeah, it did. I'm sorry. Yeah, so if you have any questions, now know that I will not be able to get back to everyone in a timely manner. If so, just bear with everybody right now, bear with the banks. Hopefully I gave you enough information to walk through, to be able to walk through this process right now. So really just focus right now on the best advice I can give you right now that you can take away from this webinar is focus on the disaster relief loan. Focus on that online application, get that done. Doesn't matter what industry you're in. You know, unless you're in the toilet paper industry, then I guess you don't need to worry about this. Everybody else does. As the information for the Paycheck Protection Program, we will do another webinar on that, Heather, if you allow us to do that. What I'd like to do is get with Heather, see if we can kind of do a webinar to walk people through the online application if needed. Just to let you know, here at the Midessa Group, we've gone with the times as of yesterday. So we can remote access. If you want me to walk you through that process, you know, instead of coming here to our office, we can remote access into your computer. We can get on Zoom and chat with you. If you want to set an appointment, send me an email, let me know. We're not a nonprofit, by the way. We do charge for our services. Do know that. What do we charge for? And hopefully if you're paying somebody, here's what you're paying for. You're paying for advice and experience. You're not paying for somebody to fill out the application for you. That's not good. If somebody's charging for that, and if they are, there's a form that they need to sign, by the way. If our clients come on board with us, there's actually an SBA form that's signed that they have to fill out, and I have to turn into SBA, by the way. So there's just a lot of shops that are sending up overnight charging for all the wrong reasons, so beware of that. We're taking this step by step. I know everybody's hurting, but we can get through this. Stay in touch with the Better Business Bureau. They'll have information. What else? Oh, so I put my phone number out there. I think I did. My office number. That's actually going to an answering service. So no, I'm not going to answer the phone. I'm seeing clients all day. They'll be asking me for your name and number. And then I'll be able to return your phone call, hopefully in a timely manner. They provide me those messages twice a day. Okay, so bear with me. What else can I let you know?
Well, I just really wanted to, you know, thank you for providing this for us this morning. I know everyone has a lot of questions and, you know, we're all in this together. So I appreciate your informative information. If anyone has any additional questions, obviously Enrique has his contact information. You can also send those to me. If you have some other topic ideas on, you know, seminars, Zoom meetings, anything that you would like that would be really beneficial to you, please, you know, send those my way via email, reach out to me, and we'll look at getting some of those set up for everyone. So once again, thank you, Enrique. We very much appreciate it. So if everyone is, I guess we're done for the moment. So I hope everyone has a fantastic day. Keep your questions and comments coming.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.